Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Tristan Rallings, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is Wing Commander Rosemary Johnson. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families who love and support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by visitors to the memorial. Australia's Federation Guard is the tri-service ceremonial unit of the Australian Defence Force. They provide a ceremonial presence at civil and military events and during visits to Australia by foreign dignitaries. The Guard will now dismount the catapult party from the tomb of the unknown Australian soldier. If you are able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem.
Catapult party, attention! Catapult party, present arms!
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wherefore toil, our home is good by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts, all beauty rich and rare. In history's
If you are able, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of the more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths of floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Lieutenant Glen George Baker. Glen Baker was born on the 9th of August 1915 in Townsville, Queensland, the son of Mary Baker. After his schooling, Baker went on to work as a clerk. He also showed great talent for cricket. While he initially played with some success in the Townsville competition, it was when he came to Brisbane as a member of the Vacuum Oil Company's staff that his career took off. A right-handed batsman and medium bowler, he played 29 first-class cricket matches, all but one for Queensland. The coming of the Second World War disrupted many professional sporting events. By December 1941, most state cricket associations had agreed to abandon interstate matches until the end of the war, and the Melbourne Cricket Ground was commandeered by the services. Baker enlisted in August 1940 and became part of the Australian Army Ordnance Corps, which took care of the supply, administration, demolition and disposal of explosives, as well as the salvage of battle-damaged equipment. During initial training, Baker must have impressed, as he was promoted to corporal on the 11th of November, the same day that he was taken on strength of the unit. Baker's rise through the ranks continued in February the following year, when he was promoted to sergeant. On the 5th of April 1941, Baker married Mavis Jean Barclay in Brisbane. A collection of his cricketing teammates formed a guard of honour at the wedding. After enjoying a honeymoon at Tambourine Mountain, Baker returned to duty. Baker was promoted to the rank of warrant officer in February 1942 and in July was offered a commission. A month later, Lieutenant Baker left Brisbane for overseas service. He arrived at Milne Bay in New Guinea in mid-August 1942 as Allied forces established an airfield and a garrison. By the 22nd of August, about 8,500 Australians and 1,300 Americans were on site. Japanese aircraft soon discovered the Allied presence, which presented a threat to Japanese plans for another seaborne advance on Port Moresby. An amphibious assault was launched and 2,000 Japanese Marines were landed on the northern side of the bay. The Australian lines did more than hold, driving back the initial assault and then pursuing the enemy towards their beachhead. Milne Bay was a significant morale boost for Australia. The Japanese drive to conquer all of New Guinea had been stopped, and the myth of Japanese invincibility had been dispelled. The 7th Division would continue the Allied offensive in New Guinea, with Gona falling in December 1942 and Boona and Sanandina in January 1943. The Allies began to reduce and capture the vast Japanese naval and air facilities at Rabaul. While the fighting could be vicious and unrelenting, the inhospitable conditions meant that disease and starvation claimed more Japanese lives than enemy action. Nor were the Australians immune from the effects of malaria, dengue fever, scrub typhus, dysentery, and tropical ulcers. In February 1943, Baker was admitted to hospital suffering from fever, and in June he was having undiagnosed problems with his ankle that continued for some time. On the 6th of December, he was diagnosed as suffering from scrub typhus. Despite receiving medical attention, he died of his illness on the 15th of December 1943. He was buried at Saputo War Cemetery that day. He was 28 years old. After the war, his remains were reinterred in the Port Moresby War Cemetery, where they lie today. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my left, among almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. A photograph of his headstone is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Lieutenant Glen George Baker, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for this reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
Catapult party, shoulder, arms.
They shall not grow old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
Catapult party, present, arms.
lest we forget.
Lest we forget.
Catapult party, inwards, turn. Catapult party, quick, march.
We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. We thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial and wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.